Everyone who's watched MasterChef knows that we're on the other side of the camera, like either crying or breaking down or elated with joy about something that's gone right. Well, I applied on a whim, but it was also the second time that I'd gone to apply for MasterChef. When I'd just come out of school, MasterChef was massive. Like Julie had just won season 1, and it was maybe season 2 or 3 I started to apply for MasterChef. I felt very overwhelmed by the fact that I probably was not good enough. I was only 18 and I loved cooking. I used to make like duck ailerons for my mum to be impressive when I was at high school. Yeah, I loved cooking. I was a bit probably not there yet, to be honest. So went in, worked, built up life experiences, and then the perfect time hit, and season 10 was that. Well, I don't think there's ever a point where you're ready for MasterChef. I think it just happens. You apply and it kind of just snowballs into you being on the show. But I did do a lot of things to try and better myself so that I had better chances when I was on the show. I did a lot of things like cooking classes or a lot of study into areas of cooking that I didn't always do. Basics like rolling pastry or making a sauce or making an emulsion, stuff that I suppose you're taught in early stages of a career of cookery. I just wanted to master all that before I went on the show. It's intense. Like MasterChef's really hard. My perception of MasterChef is like it's almost Alice in Wonderland. Like you fall through the rabbit hole and then you're in this other world. But it's not that at all. Like you rock up on the first day, there's cameras all in your face, there's 1,000 things going on. And like I found it really overwhelming because I'd never done anything like that before. But yeah, it was complete and utter shock. Well, MasterChef does a really good job at conveying the stress. Everyone who's watched MasterChef knows that we're on the other side of the camera, like either crying or breaking down or elated with joy about something that's gone right, because it's a pressure cooker, right? Like it's so stressful. That's the one question that I'm always asked. Like with MasterChef, they've always asked me if the food's eaten hot or cold and if the time pressure is real. And the time pressure is real because that's what makes the show. Is the pressure cooker, and then they release the valve and then it's just go. Yeah, the opportunities are really cool. They're fun. Like I did a lot of brand work. I released my own ice cream, did heaps of like cooking demonstrations around the place on stage shows or cooking schools. I got to work with Julie Goodwin, which was really cool. She hired me to be a facilitator at her cooking school. And then I started working in kitchens. So I worked at some amazing restaurants in the Hunter Valley and Newcastle and just kind of build up some skills. The thing is, when we went back for season 12, we'd already been in the industry. I had an online cake business, like say Brennan Pang had a dumpling store, Reynolds had koi, Poe had jam face. We had stuff going on outside. We couldn't be locked in an environment because if something went wrong in our businesses, we'd have to go fix it. So there was a lot more flexibility. There was a lot of excitement about that season, new judges or old contestants, and I feel like the production company wanted to make sure it was perfect, and I think they did a really good job with that. With that, they gave us a lot more freedom. So we had our phones, we had our own apartments each, and yeah, it was to be honest, it was work. We were there filming the show, but it was also an incredibly enjoyable time. Cake Boy was something that I wanted to start before I went to the show. It was something that I'd been planning for a few years, but I was kind of very unsure exactly the brand. I was unsure what style of baking I would do. I was unsure of if I was going to be a beautiful, like say French bakery or something like a mousse mirror glaze type of bakery, or what I am now. On the show, I was lucky enough to be in close contact with my nan, who was an amazing baker during my childhood. She had a market store. Essentially, Cake Boy's now a replica of her market store. So she mentored me on the show. We had some really beautiful moments with the judges with stuff that I made of nan's. Then on the very last day of filming, we packed up the final episode. Amelia had just won, and then we're sitting in the green room. Everyone's left. I'm the last person in the green room, and I got a call from home to say that my nan had just passed away. That was kind of the catalyst of where my career then has gone. I decided then and there that that was the path that I wanted to take. Like, she was so important to me with what I'd cooked on the show, like in terms of mentoring me, and I'd pick up the phone every day saying, I'm making you cake, it's not working, what am I doing? And she'd be giving me tips constantly. So I felt that was the point where I was like, I just shared this beautiful experience with my nan over the phone from a different state. When I get back home, she's not going to be there, but maybe this might be a way that I can like prolong that relationship. The shop has been going really well. I'm super grateful that I did it, and I'm excited still every day that I get to go to my shop. I have 15 beautiful staff. I have a large community of people who come in every day and get cake. Like, it's a great vibe. But what I'm grateful about that's my grounding. So I'm locked in, yes, but also positioned in the shop, so everything comes back to Reece and Cake Boy. But then that's been really good for like opportunities like my cookbook, or I'm now writing a second cookbook, and I think it's because these publishing companies or brands or people that we're working with outside of the shop identify the fact that not only was I Reece from MasterChef, but now Reece who has Cake Boy. So for me, like it's like a very meaningful business, and it gives me a lot of satisfaction, but it also has pivoted my career as well. I don't know where I want to go. Like, I feel like right now, this is going to sound weird, but I feel like I'm the stalk of a mushroom. You know how a mushroom like is quite large at the top and there's a lot of room to go. I love my business, and I love working in business, and I love being part of the business community. I feel like essentially that is my calling. So I want to expand my business. I want to do more stuff in the business realm. But then saying that, like, I still love opportunities like this, or like my cookbook, or just getting to go around and do fun stuff. I know like the glitz and the glamour isn't forever. But for me, pun intended, it's the icing on the cake. I'm most grateful for the opportunity. Like, hundreds of people try to go on that show, and like I was lucky enough to be able to go on the show not once but twice and make it to the end twice. Like, that for me is something that I'm incredibly grateful for. So that's something that's really important to me, and something that I always find humbling. But something that has been a very pleasant surprise is the contacts and the relationships that you form at MasterChef, like whether it be other contestants that I'm still really close to and still speak to nearly every day. These are the people that keep you accountable. Like, they're like, oh, what are you doing? What have you been up to? Where are you? I'm like, okay, I'm doing my cookbook, or they're doing their cookbook and I should do mine faster, or this or that. So it's that little bit of rivalry that I really appreciate. But not only that, people like Brendan Pang, who was on my season both the times, he's coming to Newcastle next week to hang out, and like I'm always talking and working with Hayden Quinn. We have a really close working relationship, and Amelia Jackson, Jess Lemon, there's heaps that I keep in really close contact with, because not only are these people really close friends of mine, but they're also really great contacts in terms of my career and where I can go. I think the advice that I always give out to anyone is that no matter if you leave at 50, 24, top 10, top 5, or you win it, you still have an opportunity to make something happen. I was really lucky. I got 2 chances. The first time I didn't really know what I was going to do. The second time I had a plan. Not everyone is presented opportunities on a silver platter. Like, a lot of people have to work really hard to make stuff happen. First time, I didn't really work too hard. Second time, I worked really hard. So I always just say to them, go in with a plan, go in with a strong goal, and know how you can action it. Don't rely on someone coming to you with an opportunity. What opportunities are you going to make for yourself?